Hi, and welcome to Grammar School. I'm your instructor, Terri-Ann. Today we will be looking at the simple past, both regular and irregular verbs. In this class, we will talk about the myth surrounding verbs, then we look at some background information, talk about the regular past, then the irregular past, look at some examples, and then do some exercises. Are you ready? So, what is the myth surrounding verbs? Have you ever heard that all verbs are action words? No, this is definitely not true. If a verb is an action word, how do we account for words such as be, like, love, and look? How do you be? You just be, right? And how do you like something? Apart from liking it on Facebook, that doesn't count. These are what we call stative verbs. The truth is, a verb does not only describe actions, but also states and experiences. So, I ran to work today, that's an action for sure. But I was a teacher before I retired, that is a state. And also, I felt an earthquake just now. I'm joking, but that is an experience. When we say that a verb is regular, what do we really mean? All it means is that we add ed to form the past tense. But when do we use the past? We use the simple past when we're talking about any completed action that happens before the present moment. So even 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, that's already the past. So how do we form the regular past tense? We simply add ed. So a verb such as walk becomes walked. Wag becomes wagged. Want becomes wanted. And weld becomes welded. And notice that all these words had a different pronunciation at the ending. So walk became walked. Wag became wagged. Want became wanted. And weld became welded. There are some verbs, though, where we actually have to change them to form the past tense. So, for example, verbs ending with Y. We change the Y to I and add ed. So, carry becomes carried. But for other verbs, we double the last letter. For example, ship becomes shipped. So whenever a word ends with just a vowel and consonant, we always double the final letter. Can you think of any other word like that ends with just a vowel and a consonant? There are some verbs that are irregular. What does that mean? It means that the past tense is not formed by adding ed. Essentially, these verbs want to stand out and they change in many different ways. Let's look at a few of the ways. Some verbs do not change at all. What this means is that the verb and the past tense of the verb are the same. So for example, put is put in the past, hit, cut, and quit. And read is the same, however, it is pronounced differently as read. For other verbs, there is a vowel change. So, write changes the I to O and becomes wrote. Forget, forgot. Win, won. Throw, threw. And give becomes gave. There are other verbs that lose a vowel when they are converted to the past tense or conjugated to the past tense. One such example is meet. It becomes met in the past. Lead becomes led. Bite becomes bit. Feed becomes fed. And hide becomes hid. There are others that change from D to T. So if the verb ends with D, the past tense changes to T. So the verb spend becomes spent. Send becomes sent. Bend becomes bent. And build becomes built. Then there are some verbs that we can't even explain how they changed. For example, go becomes went, have becomes had, be becomes was, do becomes did, take becomes took, make becomes made, and eat becomes ate. Can you think of any other irregular verbs? There are so many. See, the past tense is saw. Buy, the past tense is bought. Think, the past tense is thought. And teach, the past tense is taught. It is time for the examples. Let's now look at this poem and see if we can find all the verbs in the simple past. The poem is entitled Who Taught You? And was written by me in 2014. In the first stanza, we see the verb taught, which is a past tense of teach. We also see the verb walked, which is the past tense of walk. In the second stanza, we see the verb gave, which is the past tense of, that's right, give. And in the third stanza, we see the verb were, which is the past tense of the verb to be, exactly the plural form of the verb to be. Can you see any more verbs in the past? Find them on your own. It's about that time when we do some exercises. Are you ready? So, for our exercise, I want you to tell me what is the past tense of the following words. See, marry, buy, challenge, teach, jump, turn, deter, fold, and flee. And that's it. Please do the quiz below and ensure that you check the answers to the question asked before. Have a great day. This is Terry. See you next time.